The diplomatic summit on Kepler 442b was humanity's first chance at joining the galactic consortium, and Daniel Chen knew the stakes couldn't be higher. As the lead engineer aboard the human delegation ship, he had spent months ensuring every system ran flawlessly for this historic moment. Queen Liana of the Zilithian Empire stood nearly 8 feet tall, her crystalline blue skin shimmering under the artificial lights of the conference chamber. Her forearms moved with fluid grace as she gestured during negotiations, while her large silver eyes seemed to catalog every detail of the human representatives. Despite her alien appearance, Daniel found himself oddly at ease in her presence. She possessed a dignity and intelligence that transcended species barriers. "Your people show promise, Engineer Chen," Queen Liana had said during a brief recess, her voice carrying the melodic tones common to her species. Few civilizations master quantum drive technology so quickly after achieving spaceflight. Daniel had nodded respectfully, though internally he marveled at how the Zilithians had welcomed humanity's rapid technological advancement. Most older species in the consortium viewed humans with suspicion, calling them the hasty ones, who developed too fast for their own good. The negotiations had been progressing smoothly when the Vorac raiders struck. The first explosion shook the entire station, sending delegates scrambling as emergency lights bathed everything in crimson. Through the chaos, Daniel heard the distinctive whine of Vorac energy weapons, a sound every spacefarer learned to fear. The insectoid raiders were known throughout the galaxy for their brutal efficiency and their particular hatred of diplomatic gatherings. "All delegates to emergency pods," shouted Ambassador Harrison, but Daniel's engineering instincts kicked in first. The station's main power grid had been hit, and without it, the defensive shields would collapse within minutes. As other delegates rushed toward the evacuation routes, Daniel ran toward the maintenance tunnels that led to the primary reactor. Behind him, he caught sight of Queen Liana's personal guard, 6 elite Zilithian warriors in powered armor, abandoning their posts as Vorac boarding pods breached the station's hull. Their retreat shocked Daniel. Zilithian honor codes supposedly made desertion impossible, yet here they were, fleeing at the first sign of real danger. Queen Liana stood alone in the chamber, her forearms spread wide in a defensive posture that seemed more ceremonial than practical. Her silver eyes met Daniel's across the chaos-filled room. "Go, human," she called out, her melodic voice now strained with urgency. "Save yourself. The Vorac show no mercy to those who stand with their enemies." Instead of continuing toward the reactor, Daniel felt his feet change direction. Every rational part of his mind screamed that he should restore power to the shields, that saving the entire station mattered more than one individual. But something deeper, something fundamentally human, overrode his logic. Daniel sprinted back toward Queen Liana, just as the first Vorac warriors burst through the main entrance. The insectoid raiders stood 7 feet tall, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming black under the emergency lights. Their mandibles clicked with anticipation as they spotted the alien queen. "Zilithian royalty," hissed their leader in broken standard, the consortium's greatest prize. Without hesitation, Daniel threw himself between the Vorac and Queen Liana, spreading his arms wide despite having no weapon, no armor, nothing but his own vulnerable human body to offer as protection. "You want her, you go through me," Daniel said, his voice steady despite the terror coursing through his veins. The Vorac leader tilted its insectoid head, studying this strange development. "Foolish human, you cannot stop us." "Maybe not," Daniel replied, "but I can slow you down." What happened next defied every military manual and survival protocol ever written. Daniel didn't fight the Vorac. He couldn't have won such a battle. Instead, he began talking. "You know what's interesting about humans?" Daniel said conversationally, as if discussing the weather rather than facing imminent death. "We're not the strongest species in the galaxy, not the smartest either. Hell, we're not even the most technologically advanced." The Vorac warriors hesitated, confused by this unexpected response to their intimidation. "But we have one trait that seems to confuse everyone else," Daniel continued, taking a small step forward. We have this weird habit of protecting things that matter, even when it makes no logical sense. Behind him, Queen Liana whispered something in her native tongue, a prayer, perhaps, or a blessing. The thing is, Daniel said, his engineering mind working frantically on a desperate plan. While I've been talking, I've been analyzing this station's structural weak points. And there's something you should know about human engineering philosophy. We always build redundancies. Daniel's hand found the emergency manual release for the section's atmospheric controls, a backup system he had personally installed during the station's construction phase. If he triggered it, this entire section would decompress in seconds. You kill her, we all die together, Daniel said simply. Your choice. The standoff lasted only seconds, but in that time, Daniel saw something remarkable in Queen Liana's silver eyes, not just gratitude but genuine surprise. In a galaxy where species typically prioritize their own survival above all else, a human had chosen to risk everything for someone of an entirely different race. The Vorac leader's mandibles clicked uncertainly. In their culture, such seemingly irrational behavior was a sign of dangerous unpredictability. Before they could decide how to respond, the station's defensive system suddenly roared back to life. Ambassador Harrison had managed to restore partial power from the backup bridge. As security forces flooded the chamber and the Vorac raiders retreated, Queen Liana placed one of her 4 hands gently on Daniel's shoulder. Why? She asked in standard, her melodic voice filled with wonder. Your own people needed you to restore the shields. You could have saved hundreds. Daniel looked up at her towering form and smiled. Because sometimes the right thing to do isn't the logical thing to do. Besides, anyone can fix a power grid. Not everyone can stand up for what's right when it really counts. Later, as the diplomatic summit resumed under heavy security, Queen Liana cast the deciding vote to admit humanity into the Galactic Consortium. Her reasoning, delivered to the full assembly, would become legendary among human diplomats for generations to come. Any species whose members will shield strangers with their own bodies, purely because it is right to do so, has already proven they belong among the stars. Daniel Chen returned to Earth a hero, but he never forgot the lesson learned that day. Sometimes humanity's greatest strength isn't in what they build or discover, but in what they're willing to sacrifice for others, even those they've only just met.